You do it?
Yeah.
You've been using the food.
When I had that loss, I talked to you about the food, remember?
Yep. It works, man. It works. If you have a fish that does have it, instead of nuking your tank or chasing it around for an hour and ripping your tank apart to catch it and dip it, if you get it in the early stages, you can get rid of it just by feeding. Feeding, you know, good food soaks. You can get rid of it. Move over here. One look at left. They've been watching. And these guys, it won't be long before they catch on, so. This system is hooked to this system. I risked how many fish? I didn't risk any fish because I knew they were healthy and I knew they wouldn't get it. And in a 3 weeks time, they would have gotten it if they were in you know, any other circumstances. And yeah, the rabbit is venomous, but she's such a baby. I'm not scared of her. I think somebody saw us. Alright, so if none of you would take that fish home, one of you would take that fish home and put it in your tank, you guys aren't feeding right. I guarantee I could put that fish for sale and nobody buy it. Nobody buy that fish. I could give it away and they wouldn't take it. They'd be, you know, sure it's going to die. It's not going to die. That fish eats like that every day. Eventually it will kick it. It'll go away. I was hoping it still had it when we did the workshop, because when I put it up the post a month ago, it was really showing more aggressive signs of the ectoparasite. I didn't know if it would be gone by now or not, but I mean, I'm kind of glad it's not. I want it to go away, but it's just an example of how the immunes of these fish are so strong. I think one of the reasons the tang species looks so malnourished in captivity, their main diet is algae. I mean, you could feed them, you know, 5 cubes of plankton or mysis a day, but they're not getting that spirulina, that algae, that's their staple food in the wild. Not only are they mentally not healthy, their bodies aren't healthy. They become malnourished. So there's a mental, you know, there is a brain activity in these fish that are affected by malnutrition like us. I mean, you don't eat for a few days, man, you're delirious. You know, you start, you know, it's the same thing. Or if you just eat the same thing over and over, you're not going to be healthy. I mean, so this is...
But aren't tanks eating off the rocks?
Oh yeah, they'll graze off the rock. Yeah,
that's
but,
algae, right?
oh yeah, they'll get it, but there's not enough growing. I mean, some of our tanks are growing enough, but we're gonna do a workshop on that too. The reason I did this one first, though, the food workshop, is because it's so important. I mean, chemistry is important, parameters, trace elements, lighting, filtration, skimming, it's all important. But if you've got a malnourished fish and somewhat poor quality, they just don't have a chance, man. If you have excellent quality and poor nutrition, it's the same thing. It all goes together. So we're going to go over everything. This whole year, we're going to do workshops all year. And every workshop I do, you're going to get discounts for whoever attends. If you can't get it while you're here, if you don't have the money to buy it, I'm going to give you a voucher. You can use it whenever the next time you come in. I mean, it's only good for one time for that product or product line that I'm selling on the workshop or doing the workshop on. So, I mean, you know, if you can't stay the whole time, let me know. I'll give you a voucher. You can take off, you can purchase it and go or whatever. So we're going to do that on every workshop. Just, you know, I want to give back to you guys. Y'all support me, you know. You support the hobby, and I want you to also your fish and keep them healthy, man. I mean, we've all lost fish. We can lower the risk and reduce the number of losses in captivity, ultimately giving the hobby a better reputation. And, you know, what I'm telling you, you're going to tell somebody else. You're going to be like, dude, I can't believe, you know, this fish looks so good. This one, and you know, the one fish all over it, none of the other fish, and there's a dozen other fish, none of them have it, they're all in the same system. So ultimately the ick is in the water. It's in here. It's not going away. It's in your tanks at home. They live in the water column. You know, I mean, just because your fish are growing, then there's not ick in the water. It's in there. There's bacteria in there, there's protozoans in there, ectoparasites, pathogens, there's bacterias. The immune system of the fish is what enables it to fight all those things off in the wild. Same we need to do for our fish in captivity. So I've got another hippo over here that just has the head and lateral line. I don't know, is there enough on there that you can unhook it? The head and lateral line?
No, all these parasites.
Oh, you bring home anything wet. If it's wet, there are pathogens, ectoparasites, bacteria on that. You bring home a mushroom rock that was in a system with ick in it, the ick are burrowing and foraging in the rock, in the sand. Anything with surface area or pores, these parasites and bacteria are living in them. If there's a host, there's a parasite. And I don't know anybody that ran their system for 10 weeks fishless, and then anything that was introduced in the tank went 10 weeks fishless before it went in there, or a fallow tank with just fish at hypo or copper treated to keep your main display untouched. And there's only a couple of 3 ways to do that. I mean, it's in the water. The first thing you put in your tank, even though you're running it fallow, brand new, dry rock, live sand that was no fish in it. There's never been fish in that rock bin and the sand bin, so there's no ick in it. But they live in surface areas of anything wet that come in the tank. So the first piece you put in there, you've introduced it. If there's a host, it's going to reproduce.
But if you drive it, I mean, if you slow acclimate and then you don't put any in that water, even though it's on the fish,
nope.
In quarantine, and then you swap. Quarantining,
drip acclimation, dipping. I'm gonna do a whole nother workshop on that too, because it's another one we got to touch on. This is going to be years and years of guys. This is just the first one, and it's so hard to touch on everything in just a couple hours. I mean, we're doing pretty good. We've been about an hour. Went by pretty quick. We've been how long? 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes on that tape. Okay. Can we move over here? You think there's enough on the battery with a cord stretch?
Yeah.
This fish I've had 8 years. I got it before I was into retail. Bought it from a local pet store when it was just a couple inches, not very big. I think I have one. I had a crash at home in my personal tank. This fish had head and lateral line erosion so bad he lost his complete dorsal fin. All of it. It was completely gone. It was bone. His whole dorsal, and that's a sail fin tank. His whole dorsal fin was gone. It's taken 2 years to regenerate this fish back to the health that it's in. As you can see, there's just one little spot, if I turn around, right there, that hasn't quite closed yet. So bad. The pits, I mean, you could see the depth of the erosion pits around the fish's eyes, and to the point where the whole sail fin and the pectorals were basically gone. He was swimming with his tail. And his swim bladder was the only thing keeping him buoyant. And if you see now, that's what these foods can do. They can regenerate a fish in captivity back to 100%, but it takes time, it takes dedication, and then you can have a beautiful fish like this, even if it was at one time. Because that fish that would be the one fish that's healed the best from the worst situation. My baby. Both of them. Come on. Alright. This hippo, this was another rescue. I rescued from another guy's tank. Head lateral line erosion is much worse than this one. It came out of a 40-gallon breeder. It was very, very shy. It was in a 40 breeder, and the salinity was 1.034. It had been fed nothing but pellets most of its life. The guy brought it in and asked me did I want it, and I dumped it right in here, right in the tank. I dripped it for a couple hours and I put it right in. This was 2 months ago, and the fish is already reversed. The lateral line erosion is reversed. The fish is back to health, aside from the erosion. Broke out with a little bit of ick, went away pretty quick, but the erosion is still pretty bad. It's very, very shy. If I can get it to come out, you'll see how bad the erosion is. It's around the eyes. And it's mainly the right side. The left side is pretty much healed. You can see the left on the right side a little more so than on the... Let me back away and see if it'll come out.